Hello and welcome back to the Reloading Podcast. My name is Beard. I'm again here with the Nighter.
Yeah, somehow.
It's a pain.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm still really coughy, so excuse me if I keep coughing during this episode. Anyways, once more at the start of the episode, we do have to do some housekeeping. You should get used. You should be used to it by now. This is a new podcast. There's a lot of things happening. So first and foremost, we have a really big announcement, and that is that we are now available on pretty much all major podcast streaming platforms. So that is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're back on SoundCloud, Amazon, Stitcher, and Deezer are now also options as well. We're currently looking into getting on Castbox if you use that, but that's still something, that we're working on. You can find all these links in, again, all of our descriptions on all the platforms that do allow descriptions. They seem to be kind of messed up on the new platforms that we're on now because of the way that RSS feeds work, but we're going to try to work that out. But we now have everything condensed in a new link tree, which you can again find now in all our bios and pinned posts or about sections or descriptions, whatever, where you will find all of our links.
Yep.
Sorry. Now, another thing that is something that I am more personally doing is that I am putting out a bounty on all Mika team works that have come out before or around the time of Codename Bakery Girl, save for Codename Bakery Girl itself. So, for any physical or digital or physical copy of Guns N' Girls, Girl of the Bakehouse, and its OST, I am putting out a bounty of respectively $50 or $100. So, if you can get me a digital copy of either of these 5 things, I'm gonna send you $50. If you can get me a physical copy, I'm gonna give you $100. And if you want to, I'll cover shipping as well. Because I want to get my hands on these things, I want to preserve these things and give access of them to the whole community. For physical, of course, condition is another thing. These are pretty old things, and they were sold by a small doujin circle, so they might not be in the best of conditions anymore. Depending on that, I might have to deduct a bit from the 100 net that you're gonna get, so make sure that if you want to get that full bounty, that you that it's in a good condition. That I can, for example, with Guns N' Girls, I can scan and then publish for everyone. There's another link for that in the descriptions where you can see like all the rules. Again, this is not like a big official thing. I don't have a legal something behind me. I'm not a lawyer. This is just me doing a thing because I want to work for the preservation of this media. And yeah, just contact me if you've got something and we can figure something out. I think that's that.
Yep. So, speaking of these old works, you have read some of the scripts, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how would you say would it compare in terms of quality to like Girls Frontline currently?
Okay, so just a bit of context here. This is about the script for the original Girl of the Bakehouse VN, which is believed to have surfaced. Again, I've sent him this script, and funnily enough, the name of the document is Discarded Draft for Codename Bakery Girl, ? But like I said, that's the document name. I have multiple sources confirming that name, but I also have multiple sources saying that it's just straight up the script of the original Girl of the Bakehouse VN. And it's vastly different than anything from Codename Bakery Girl. There are parallels, but it's vastly different. So I'm inclined to believe that it's latter, that it's actually the script. And this is something I would confirm if I managed to get my hands on the VN. So, Do your part, whoever's listening to this.
Yep.
Any- anyways, sorry about your question.
Yeah.
I mean, for one, it's relatively short. Like, it's 47 pages, but that's with a line break wherever like you have to click in the VN, right?
Yeah.
To advance the text box. So it's probably more something like 15 or 20 pages. So it's really not that much to go off, but I'd say it's pretty good. It's a lot more verbose, I'd say, compared to GFL. Like, it likes using a lot more adjectives and whatever. But that makes sense because it's written in first person by Mendo,
Yeah, I've read a bit of it. It's like
who takes our main character here. So writing like more, again, just tossing around all kinds of adjectives or trying to really hammer home a certain point you're making. Like, for example, Giafutti's hair smells like lilies, which is something that comes up all the time. That's fine, right? It's something that's perfectly acceptable in that case. And that's something we don't really have in GFL. We don't really have that much first person narration.
Except for the commander.
Except for, like, even then, the commander, especially now later on, has more of a character role than a first person role.
Yeah, it's just set his perspective and how
So
he's written.
it's mostly been like in the part running up to Singularity, where the commander is a first person narrator.
Yep.
And I mean, in that case, they're also a bit more verbose. So I think that's just kind of the writing style that, I mean, back then it was Yuzhong's, and I think he's just kind of carried that over into like how he wants GFL to be written.
Yeah, I've noticed a bit of it.
Again, I'm sorry to keep coughing during this. I'm just fucked, but we want to record this anyways. Cause
Stop being fucked. There you go.
I try. Okay.
Yeah, so I've definitely noticed there was definitely more of a first person, or it was general first person from the small bits I've read. I haven't read the whole script because I'm retarded. And also I just have a reader's block, kind of. And I've noticed there, it definitely felt kind of GFL in a sense. I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when you read it, you definitely feel like that's pretty much the same person who's writing it.
Yeah. Or at least the same person had the ideas.
Yeah, like one of the things I've read was so there definitely was a whole war correspondent thing that he takes photographs from the battlefield, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And there I noticed kind of this whole deal with GFL in general having war stories with a slight twist to them.
Yeah. What I do like is that, I mean, of course, it's not something novel to write this kind of story, right?
Yeah.
It's not exactly something novel, but I still like how it was done. Because in the end, oh my god, my fucking roomie. I'm sorry if you couldn't hear him all the time. He's been playing Cyberpunk nonstop, and he can't fucking help himself, I guess.
I can't hear it in the recording, at least, or here. So
you could hear it in the last episode, but that wasn't Cyberpunk, that was League.
Maybe.
You could actually hear it in some spots.
Oh yeah, maybe on your recording,
anyways,
but not on my end.
Anyways, so yeah, where was I? Shit, I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Something about war stories with a slight twist to them.
Right. Right. It's nothing really novel. Neither is what GFL is doing, really. It's just, the small pawns getting betrayed all the time. Basically, that's what GFL is. And with Bakehouse, Girl of the Bakehouse, it's just, having to live with your consequences, or having to live with the consequences of your actions, right?
I mean, there's a similar thematic thing in GFL at times, but not as pronounced, where that's a bit different.
Yeah, it's not as pronounced. But for example, if you see, I don't know, did you read the ending?
The ending? Or,
did you get there?
Of the entire
to the
thing?
end. Yeah.
Nope, not really. I can probably skim
Shit.
through it, but it won't help, I think. So I'm lacking the context then.
Well, the thing is, like, everyone in, like, everyone except for Jefuti, who is technically still a child, but even she is, like, kind of tainted. Everyone in Bakehouse, not Bakery Girl, Bakehouse, is kind of morally gray, right? For one, you have Mendo because he had the soldiers just randomly shoot into the clouds, not knowing what was below. Everyone assumed there was nothing there because they kind of had a grip on the region, but not really.
So why did they shoot?
And there just so happened to be some civilians there, so they had to commit, basically.
Wait, that's still like, but why did they shoot in this case then? If there's nothing there.
Well, because Mendo wanted to take a picture.
Ah, and
Mendo wanted to take like an in-action picture.
So basically, you know,
And they just shot into what they thought was nowhere, and they just happened to hit the village instead.
Oh,
While Chifuti was out, like, grabbing something, I think.
oh, so yeah, I
And
think I've
her
read,
parents were caught.
yeah,
in
that's
that.
what I've read. That like he killed her parents.
Yeah.
Uh,
So there's something else where of course Bakehouse very much differs from Bakery Girl in the sense that none of the world building is there. So it's super different, but there are still parallels. For example, Jifuti like fixing up Mendo, where in Bakery Girl this is like after his convoy was hit by an RPG. And he's like the sole survivor, and Jifuti picks him up. In Bakehouse, he's just fallen sick, and since he's a wartime correspondent, he doesn't have to stay in camp, and so he stayed in the village, where then the local Bakehouse took him up and decided to nurse him back into existence, basically, because he was fucked.
Yep, kind of part of it. So yeah, I've noticed definitely there was I think GFL does like the tragedies part a bit better in this case then, because I think the idea of shooting into a nothing to make good photos and then accidentally killing the parents of a main character is just, it's not really the best, I think. At least,
I mean, it's basically an idea of a twist of fate, right?
yeah, pretty much.
Which I don't think is a bad thing inherently. I do think that, you know, you have to carry it out well. But seeing how, for example, like in the document in the sheet, in the document in the script, things are a bit out of order.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Like I said,
yeah,
you have the
more.
like the main story is all in order, but at the end you have the opener. At the very end, after the ending, the opener is noted, because there were like a few things weird with the translation there. The original came with an English translation, but it's not what the Chinese actually translates to.
That's weird as fuck.
So they added the opener at the end in like a translated form and both of the original forms, because they didn't want it to take up too much space, basically. So reading that out of order, I think probably does a bit of a number on it, because you have the info of what happened from the beginning, right? Rather than like, I think like 3 pages in or something.
No, yeah.
Where Amanda was like, oh, well, shit, well, fuck, oh, God, oh, Jesus Christ, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a bit of a bit of a thing we're missing out on there. But what's much more important, I think, is the way they still kind of manage to like bring things around Jifuti and Mendo together, because that's the thing. Even though Jifuti like, of course, is understandably mad at Mendo, she doesn't take it out on him. She knows that that's his job, and that he's not actually the one who's at fault for this, right? It's the misinformation that the military had by the hands of the mayor, or major, who's kind of the big bad here. But at the same time, even though he's definitely, again, made out to be the big bad guy who's been like doing all kinds of shady shit to get to his rank and to keep his power, even he is kind of justified in the end.
So it's kind of a thing that even here the villain is unclear, which means that William is so the first and only person in his works, in Yuzong's works, that is clearly evil. And even then, well, no.
I would love to tell you that, yeah, but I still haven't played past like the halfway point in Bakery Girl, so I can't tell you his role.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
I couldn't
so
if I wanted to.
From what I've heard,
like, what's his? We could say William would be the, like, given William his father, that he would be the first truly villainous character.
Yep.
But then again, I haven't seen half of Bakery Girl, and the UNRC is already pretty well antagonized here.
Yeah.
And then William also has an appearance. So I can't even say that William is clearly antagonistic or clearly villainous.
Some appearances in the confidential files.
He does.
Yeah, he does. Okay. I think he starts off some research stuff, but he's mostly named there. I have read like 5 pages so far, but once I've read all of them, I think all 2.
I've only really read the secret documents from Bakery Girl.
Which one?
I've only really read the secret documents from Bakery Girl, so no mention of him there.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's all like his more historic stuff.
Yeah, so he has...
Or very recent wartime stuff. So I think it's more like reports and things. So he's not really mentioned.
Yeah, like it's pretty obvious that he's a fucking big person in terms of like scale and influence.
Yeah. I mean, of course he does.
Yeah.
He appears in literally every single game up until now, like every major game in the timeline.
Not including.
Like he's gonna
the bakery house thing. Bakehouse?
No, not Bakehouse. In the timeline.
Yeah,
Bakehouse is not on the timeline.
Oh yeah, right. You mentioned that.
That's the thing. Like that's what I love so much about Bakehouse. It's like you can see the first seeds being sown, even though it's something completely different.
So you mean in the sense that things like the writing style, or maybe even objects or there appear in Bakehouse that reappear later on, or ideas, for example.
Yeah, ideas for one, of course, because there's a fair few things that do have parallels in Bakery Girl. There's there's the writing style, but there's which is kind of getting established, but there's again the opener of Bakery Girl, which mirrors how Mendo is treated by Jifuti in Bakehouse. There's actually one of the missions which is about Mendo, Jifuti, and I think his superior. I don't know the actual rank, but his superior infiltrating an UNRC encampment, which is mirrored by the assassinations that Jifuti and Mendo carry out. And there's also the ending, which I haven't seen, but from the little I know of it in Bakery Girl, is similar as well. Not the lead up to it, but the scene itself. Let me check really quick. I know it's on the IOP wiki, so. Let me check. And then, of course, there are a few like recurring art pieces, which is something I've alluded to before. I think. I don't know. Did I allude to that before on the podcast?
I think you might have, but I'm not entirely sure.
Like aside from the epithelium thing.
Yeah, definitely that's one, but other parts.
That's the one I've mentioned every single episode so far, and now this one as well.
You should
But
keep it up.
But yeah, here's the thing. There's 3 different endings depending on the capacity of the player to deplete the URNC troops before taking Beria down, who I think is like the last boss or whatever. Yeah. So that's pretty much. Let me go over this again. Yeah, it's pretty much. Well, it's not the same, but you know, it's similar enough. To say that there's a parallel there. But I'm not gonna spoil anything because I know you want to go through Bakery Girl yourself or Reverse Collapse when it comes out. Though I would definitely urge you to play Bakery Girl anyways to get to the comparison, but whatever.
I will bully you with this. This is, but no. Right now my plan is just to read through the confidential files and then we'll see.
Yeah, same. I'll have to do that myself. The con files too are so goddamn large though.
The harder part is actually more how they're written. It's basically like you're reading a scientific political document. It's fucking hell to read.
Yeah, that's the point. It's a lot, and it's really fucking hard to read.
It's dry as fuck. Like it took me like 5 pages or so. Oh, I think it was 4 pages. Just like first, finally I get something that I can use. Everything else is just like, this operation led to this, then was this, then this, and I'm like, what the fuck do half of these words even mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun read.
Dry as fuck, but still fun.
Yeah, I think the one thing it has going for it is like the fact that it belongs to GFL. It helps a lot because in a way you read it and you just have in your mind this constant thought of at some point I'm going to get some revelation that's going to tie everything together, and it's kind of like you just wait for that moment.
I mean, that's what they're for, right? It's world building.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's kind of
that's one of the most important things to something like GFL, with how grand it's going with its story. At this point, right?
If you look at the confidential fights, the size is way larger than what GFL currently offers.
Yeah, but GFL itself is already trying to tackle so much of it.
Yep, I've noticed.
Even by just going into things like the Pike Node and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Shattered Connection.
Which, by the way, I had a really, really interesting revelation about the Pike Node and shit.
Oh.
Like, the iceberg and stuff. Because there's, like, a few Russian, things in Cyrillic on the iceberg, like, the very lower levels. And I had someone, like, translate those for me. And there was some really spicy shit in there that they're gonna be really, really fun to cover in the iceberg video whenever I come around, like, getting to that.
Nice.
Because a bit of a spoiler, or not spoiler, a teaser here.
Oh yeah, teaser, a nice way of spoiler.
It's spoilers, but not.
Yeah.
There is Emilia M down in there, right? It's, I think, right at the, it's right at the bottom, at the lowest level. And it can also be transliterated as Yemilia, which is the name of a character in a Slavic folktale called At the Pike's Behest. Emilia the Simpleton. And this is a story about a peasant guy, or a peasant dude, that fishes up a pike, which, to German, if you don't know, that's Hecht, right?
Wait, yeah.
So he fishes up a pike, he fishes up a pike. You see the parallel? Okay, yeah. And it's a magic pike. It's a magical pike. The pike pleads with him, promising that if Emilia lets him go, he would never have to work again. And whenever he wanted something, he would just need to say, "By the pike's command, and at my desire, this or that," right? And that thing would be done.
Mm.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
That is such a fucking... Like, how deep do you go?
Yeah, that's amazing. I've definitely noticed that.
Yuzhong, Jesus Christ. But yeah,
Pike-
things go so high
No.
to the point where, like, word of this peasant boy reaches the Tsar, and he has him, like, appear at his court, and to, like, with the task to make his daughter happy, because the daughter, like, she never smiles, she's never happy, and he somehow manages to do it. But the Tsar is so taken aback by this that it's actually like how easily he's done it, that it actually angers him, and he's excommunicated. But because he's got the power of the pike with him, he just the princess has fallen in love with him. He just wishes her to his island, where they then live happily ever after.
You know, that way of describing the pike is really how pike notes feel in GFL.
Right.
Like, the thing is about pike notes is, in terms of SC and isomer, the pike notes are just like, I don't know, maybe they're just like EMPs on crack, for example. At least an isomer, it feels like that. Like, it's just fucking
an
wipes
isomer
out.
at least.
But reading through the confidential files, I've noticed that pike notes are this interesting aspect of, like, no one fucking understands them, and the way it's described with, like, the collapse technology, and I think the term anti-collapse technology is something you know, right?
I know about an anti-collapse.
Yeah, so basically
It's all in the secret documents.
yeah, and then you have, like, both aspects there, and, like, the pike notes and the whole aspects of, like, the other technologies. And it definitely feels like this is it definitely has, like, this cool feeling of, like, being beyond human comprehension.
Yeah. I mean, that's another big point. Like with Project Starfish, the Shoggoths, or as they're noted, the morons or idiots, which is another one of the Cyrillic things at the bottom of the iceberg. It's literally idiot. It's transliterated idiot, which is the name given to the Shoggoths that the facility at Project Starfish creates. I forget the name of the facility, but that's what it creates. It creates actual Lovecraftian Shoggoths. I think it's actually, like, featured in one of the older servers' login screens. Like, it's particularly call.
I think the name that you mentioned is also an SC, if I remember correctly, project.
Shoggoth?
No, the Project Starfish, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think it is.
Yeah,
Is it?
It should be in one of the confidential messages.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Then there's another one, which is Shuka, which is literally, again, just northern pike. The fish. And then there's a plane somewhere in there as well, which is probably, something alternate history thingamajigged with collapse technology, just like the SR-71 or something.
Yeah, that reminds me. One thing I've noticed, which I think that what makes the confidential files so difficult to read, is that they're essentially going really in depth in terms of, like, technological and political aspects of the reverse collapse technology and anti-collapse technology in a way that...
I mean, it's a lot of technobabble.
Yeah, but the thing about technobabble, what makes it hard is that it explains in depth as to how these things work, but these things that are explaining aren't really things you can comprehend. So you can essentially have, like, lines of text where, like, this is a scientifically sound explanation, but what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, pretty much.
How much have you read of the confidential files? Nothing?
The confidential files, like, 2 separate ones. I think the one about IOP, and I don't even know what other one.
Yeah, because have you read
The one
the whole
about
thing
IOP
about
is the one I remember mainly. I think it's about accelerant or something.
Yeah, like one thing I've read was about
But accelerant is a secret document. Oh my god.
weird shit. Yeah, one thing I've read was an aspect of data transfer using anti-collapse technology to make data transfer much faster. And I'm like,
Yeah, I
what
think that's also
the fuck?
that's also mentioned in the files.
Yeah, I think like
It's because in the secret files.
yeah, like
Because or secret documents, god damn it. Because I mean it's basically like collapse is basically radiation, right?
yeah, it's radiation.
It's basically another form of it's not electromagnetic radiation.
Yeah, wasn't it like some kind of liquid gas thing deal?
No,
No, wait.
that's the thing. That's the thing. It's exactly not that. Collapse fluid isn't fluid.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
a
something
particle
else.
wave.
Yeah, that's exactly. I don't know.
It's just like again electromagnetic radiation, like light. You know. So you can send. Sorry, I kicked my desk. You can send information through collapse radiation, or anti-collapse by when you receive it. You can pretty much encode, because collapse can pretty much take up the form of anything, right? It's basically an answer to the information paradox.
Yep.
The idea of what happens, like what tells atoms the structure they take of molecules, right? Because you have carbon, which can be graphene or graphite or diamond. What tells the carbon atoms to take that structure? That's the information paradox. Or that's the idea of information being the thing that tells the atoms to arrange in that way. And the information paradox technically is what happens to information when that matter goes into black hole, but another story. Basically, collapse tech is the answer to what is information, right? Because collapse fluid or radiation can take apart, disassemble matter, capture it and its information, and with anti-collapse you can reassemble it.
So
that's the gist of it.
So basically, in a very simplified way to see, you have your collapse fluid, or collapse, and it would take apart a piece of bread, for example, and then you use anti-collapse technology to reconstruct that bread from the collapse.
Yes.
So and that's how the data transfer works.
Exactly. You encode the data into the collapse fluid and send that off to wherever you want it to go. Hope it doesn't get intercepted, because it's a physical thing. It's a physical beam of radiation. And you got it.
So
light speed data transfer.
Essentially, it would be like virtualizing the world, but not really.
Yeah.
Which
it's encoding. It's encoding. It's encoding matter into radiation.
Interesting.
And this is why stuff like, for example, we have ELIDs, which are it's what is it again? Chitinization or whatever.
Don't remember.
Whatever the process is called, right? It's, for one, it's the ELID's skin, of course, deforming and all that jazz. Radiation burns, calcifying, all that kind of stuff. But it's also the collapse fluid or radiation at that point, essentially the same thing, one is just more condensed. It's the collapse radiation laying its encoded matter from the explosion, for example, onto the victims, onto the ELID. It's just layering, or it's just putting on layer after layer of rock just material, basically fallout onto them.
That's interesting. So that's how this works.
So they're just irradiated even more, and they get these layers and layers of hardened mass.
So that's also where like the huge fucking ELIDs come into play. That being said, I've
God fucking damn, man!
What?
I just want to interject here. The Elid Type D mission in Bakery Girl is the most terrifying fucking thing I've ever played.
Oh, nice.
Like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to know what they are gonna do with it in Reverse Collapse, because holy fuck, it's so good.
Nice. I will have to look at it. But I've definitely read something about heard about elites being much more monstrous later on.
Yeah, Type D Elids are basically the last stage.
Would it technically mean that, for example, if, assuming so, we use Collapse to transfer data, if you transfer an alien species, for example, and then someone else gets these alien, the alien Collapse somehow interjected with him with a collapse fluid bomb or similar, that would mean that encoded alien DNA would be implemented into that person, and then that would create a special kind of alien, right?
It could, I guess.
I guess kind of.
I guess it depends on. Like, this is where like the fine print comes in about what we don't really know about collapse radiation, because as it stands, like collapse explosions are incredibly violent.
Yeah.
They're basically nuclear explosions, but with only, like, where the only mass present is the radiation particles. Which means there's a fuck ton, because radiation particles have next to no mass.
Yeah, it's
and at that point it's like, you need anti-collapse technology to really materialize the the encoded matter or the encoded information really well. Again, the matter and information. But it's again, it's kind of where the fine print, like, how would it impact the ones radiated by this special collapse bomb, right?
So in a sense, if you have unregulated collapse fluid bombs, you have no fucking idea what's inside them, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what makes them
usually
so
the capsules that are usually used, in Singularity, the one, those are straight from relic sites. They're pure.
Okay, so basically
they're just
nothing there.
Flat collapse.
Yeah.
So when the bomb goes off, it just reacts with everything around it. That's why, if you've seen some of the promotional artwork for GFL2, for the black zones, which are kind of like the ground zeros.
Yeah, the crystal things, right?
They're the crystal things, right?
Yeah.
That is not just dirt and just material being blown away and crystallizing around the impact, or around the blow, around ground zero. It's also material being immediately deposited into those crystals by collapse radiation. That's why there are so many and so massive, such massive ones. Now, I did send you the iceberg again for a reason.
Yep.
The second lowest one, the image for the second lowest here, that's a Type D Elid.
Oh yeah, I've seen that image run around somewhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can imagine, like, this is definitely not human or not.
The idea with Type D Elids, if I remember correctly, it's covered in one of the secret documents. I think the idea of Type D Elids is that basically the human or like the Elid, or the human that has been turned into Elid, is still alive somehow, but has been consumed so much by the mutations and the radiation that happens, and they just somehow manage to, pass through the turmoil and the vital organ damage. They just basically luck out. And that's what happens with them. They're basically forcibly kept alive at that point. They're just in eternal turmoil and anger and rage and lunge at everything.
Yep, I just noticed the majority of, or at least a big chunk of, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th part of the iceberg, so where the Class D Elite is, A lot of it is explained in the confidential files, like
Yeah,
Barbie
yeah.
Roll,
Most
for
of the
example.
lower both lower tiers is in the confidential files. Yeah,
Yeah, also Black Lily and White Rose is there. What
which
else?
is in CBG as well.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
I still love the fact that there's nothing here about Bakehouse. I'm so fucking deep. I'm below the abyss.
I'm interested. It's interesting that 90 Wish Rocks is in the fourth one, but also 90. Wait, is it 90 Wunsch?
90 Wunsch?
Yeah, 90 Wunsch.
That's actually another thing
That's
from
another
the
thing?
confidential files.
God fucking damn it.
90 or 90 Wunsch was
Yeah.
actually a thing in, I think, World War II era Germany.
Oh,
They were the ones doing research into the Urkunde 1 site. I think. Don't quote me on this. I haven't read the confidential files. This is secondhand knowledge.
yeah.
So, but that's what I think it is.
So 90 Wunsch is then something else as 90 Wish.
They're not actually the predecessors. 90 Wish just stole their name.
Oh, interesting. That's fucking Jesus. It's gonna be so much.
It's so fucking
Hey, just
cool.
imagine a perfect German translation of the game and then just 90 Wunsch and then 90 Wunsch Part 2.
Yeah, I did. It was like, at first I thought it was a meme, that it's just 90 Wunsch down there. Like there's another few things like Dreamer's body is in space and Dreamer's jealous of Destroyer.
At this point, Dreamer's body in space is something I can now imagine. I could just,
Touché.
it probably would make sense somehow.
Yeah.
It actually,
Fair.
there is a chance that the original body is in space. Because she has been using a lot of clones in the night chapters, for example.
For that, we would need to know more about Dreamer, though.
Well, I just know that she tends to use clones at fuckton, so
Dummies,
yeah, clones, dummies. She loves to use them, so it's not all too unlikely that the original Dreamer is somewhere in space. The question is just why. And
Yeah, I guess it's plausible, but there's no reason to think it's so.
yeah,
That's basically what I'm putting
not
down.
enough information in GFL present that
Yeah.
would lead to the conclusion.
Not enough information to make it like an actual point.
Yep.
Anyways, that was a really fucking big tangent. I don't even know how we got there. We were talking about Bakehouse.
Oh yeah, somehow we were talking about Bakehouse.
we were talking about Bakehouse, and we just went full on into everything but Bakehouse. Like literally every other piece of media in Mika's catalog, except for Bakehouse.
Well, so speaking of Bakehouse, is there any reason why it's called Bakehouse, or what's the fuck?
Because
Bake-
Jifuti lives in a bakery. She's literally a bakery girl.
Oh, well, that's kind of a.
Yeah, yeah, she's a bakery girl. Her aunt, I think her name was Vena, I think.
Yeah, Vina, the same I've read. The.
She's the village's baker.
Oh.
And Jifuti helps like selling and everything.
Hmm.
Now this is something that I just like remembered. Let me pull it up again really quick. I don't have the script open for some reason.
What?
Where's the link? Where's the link? Where's the link? Where's the link? Twitter. There we go. This completely ripped me out of the story. Like I had to like sit back for 10 minutes and be like, Yu Zhangwai, Yu Zhangwai, Yu Zhangwai. Like previous, like this is 2080, right?
Mhm.
This is actually technically further into the future than Bakery Girl was.
Oh, what the fuck?
There's another difference there. It doesn't search properly, thank God. Where is search in Google Docs again?
You mean Control
Right.
F?
Is it Control F? Oh yeah, thank you. There's mention of like Mendo using his smartphone and whatever, which was fine, right? That's fine. But then
I mean, yeah.
this one like regarding the plan of like the assassination plan for the first time. They were going over it. We chose a small hill to the north of the army camp, one that was overgrown with short trees. These trees were much more resilient than humans, having endured the terrible weather. They would provide concealment for us. There was a hidden bunker in the depths of the forest which had been destroyed by Alliance forces. Though it was badly damaged, it still gave us a hiding place. Since we were near an airport, a pair of recon helicopters would take off every 15 minutes and soar low through the air above us, and we could use the sound of their passage to mask our gunshots. This was the most workable plan I could come up with, based on the war novels I had read and the advice of armchair generals on Weibo.
Yeah, I think I've skimmed through that part, like... nice.
That took me so out of it. Just the mention of Weibo.
Yeah, like, Weibo...
Because this is 2080. Arctic Circle.
Yep, Weibo, for those who don't know,
And
is...
Mendel is just casually browsing Weibo.
Actually, everyone probably should know what Weibo is, but if they don't, Weibo is a social media for China, pretty much.
It's pretty much the central social media.
Exactly, so that's all you need to know.
China. Basically, yeah.
Yep, so...
It's a blog, Twitter, and Facebook all in one, somehow.
In a sense, imagine if you read it and he just says armchair generals on Reddit, for example. Like, that's kind of the idea.
Oh god, that's way too good. The choice of Reddit is way too good there.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh god. No, that's not good. Who else is reading right now?
Two persons, peoples. No.
Are you on? You're on the document, right?
I'm in the document, yeah.
Who else do you see?
Well, a tiger anonymous and a koala anonymous.
Okay, so you're a walrus. Who the fuck is the koala? And I'm a tiger. Sick. Who the fuck is the koala? Who is this person?
I don't know.
Oh wait, it's me. I had two tabs open.
Oh. Yeah, who is the person? What the fuck? What are you doing to yourself?
Koala's gone. Now I killed the koala because I am the koala.
It's consumption. This is how collapse works. You just close the tab and it's gone. If you reopen it, it just generates a new thing in like within seconds. Oh man.
But yeah, that line just took me so out of it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because again, that's the specific choice of Weibo. It's 2080. You're writing a fucking morally gray love story.
Yeah.
About wartime correspondents betraying their own, or deserting, basically, to avenge themselves for killing this girl's parents indirectly. And did you say that you got his advice on Weibo?
Yeah, that's something I've noticed.
It's so inorganic. If it was like, if it was like at least like, oh yeah, like I kind of mentioned it on like in the local pub or whatever.
Or social media also works. Like social media is something
general social media.
Going to just...
we already had the generalization of smartphone.
Yep.
So just saying general social media would have fixed that flat out. But specifying Weibo, I get it. China, it's basically the only thing they have. But
see, the last thing about this is kind of feel like a sort of product placement where you like, and then I pulled my smartphone made by Sony out to make a photo. It's like no.
I mean, again, I get it. Weibo is basically the only real social network they have in China.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is why it makes sense to specify.
Which is why it makes sense to specify it in like the context of a 2008 Douyin VN, right?
Yeah.
Written and published only in China. But I mean, to be fair, this is a translation, not a localization. But you know, if I were to somehow get my hands on this and port it into Ren'Py, wink wink, that's probably something I would change.
Yeah, so one thing I've done, which obviously begs the question then, would be, at the time of writing, would there be any other term in China for social media other than Weibo? given the...
That's actually a really good question.
Because I'm pretty sure it would then just mean that Weibo only exists as a word there, because social media as a word doesn't really exist because of censor.
Doesn't really. Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Oh man.
But again, this is a translation, not a localization, so it makes sense to be there. There's a good reason for it to be worded like this in the context of its work. But I think, again, it's just kind of off from the world, right?
Yeah, definitely feels like an off place.
It takes you out of the experience a bit. It just, again, I was going through this really well. I was really invested because at this point the tension was up. This was Jeffuti's first kill. And there was a lot of tension and how it was built up and everything. And then we're like, oh yeah, this is the plan, while they're walking through the army camp. And there's this is the plan. This is what we're gonna do. And then it just fucking name drops armchair generals on Weibo.
Yep,
it's just yeah. Anyways, let's not get too stuck up on that.
Yeah, definitely. So you'd say the story itself is actually pretty good.
It's actually pretty good, yeah. I do think it's a genuinely great short story.
Do you think, would you say it's better than our current large major story events in GFL, or comparable in terms of story?
Ooh, that's hard to relativize. That's really hard to relativize.
Assuming you cut off the major story events into their own separate pieces, because all major story events have their overarching arc, overarching arc, that then ties to the main story. So if you remove that side, would you say they're better or worse, or comparable?
Well, the thing is, there's a very big difference in the stories being told here. You have the big arcs, of course, with each event going on in GFL, but they can't stand on their own, right?
Kind of.
Very barely, usually.
Yeah,
it's really hard for them to stand on their own.
Yeah,
you need at least context from previous events or the ongoing story.
Yeah, context is definitely necessary.
So the comparison is really hard to make because, again, it's very different. It's a very different medium, even within storytelling.
Okay.
With Bakehouse, it's a 2 to 3 hour VN, which is already exceedingly short.
Yeah, that's
a really short. VN is considered at 8 hours. Of reading time. That's a short VN, like Sayano Uta, for example.
Sayano Uta is 8 hours about.
Sayano Uta is roughly 8 hours if you're a decently fast reader.
Yeah, and for all routes, that's the thing.
Yeah, if you're a decently fast reader.
Which
Bakehouse doesn't have any routes.
Yeah, that's probably also where the 2-3 hour read time comes in, because Saya, a single route you can probably read in 4 hours.
I actually do want to read Saya, so
it's good.
But but again, Bakehouse is exceedingly short for a VN. I think but I do think that as a short story, it is fantastic. It could totally do perfectly well as the headliner for wartime anthology, short story anthology, right? If you were literally a random publisher just putting together an anthology of wartime short stories, I think Girl of the Bakehouse could do as a headliner for that.
Yeah, I've noticed from the small bits I've read, it's really well written, and I think that's also probably the reason why you want to make a bounty on it, because you want to have those the originals.
For one, it's the seed. It's the first seed for GFL and its world.
Yep.
Because without it, there wouldn't be Codename Bakery Girl, and Codename Bakery Girl is where it basically started, unless you count Guns and Girls.
Yeah. Speaking of
Guns and Girls as well, it's those two things coming together. The two other works that gave us Codename Bakery Girl.
Oh.
And not even it's not even in that regard. I mean, that's the part of the reason why I put such a high bounty on it. It's $500 combined. That's half my paycheck.
Yeah.
So this is another thing. If you're still listening at this point, if someone comes out of the woodwork and says yeah, I have all of this shit in physical perfectly in mint physical condition, I can ship it to you, no problem. I'm gonna take them up on that offer, but I'm not gonna be able to pay them like in full at the first notice of things. I'm gonna have to take a few months to pay that off. So yeah, but anyways, still, if you can't do that, please contact me. We'll work something out.
Speaking of Guns and Girls, what the fuck is that then?
Guns and Girls is a. Did you not see? You did see the GFL
I
history
did see it, but I'm just asking for general questions.
for those that haven't seen yet. It's a series of doujins sporadically released by Mika. It was their first published work, I think. The first volume.
Doujins as in written text
Art
only?
books.
Art books? Okay.
Art books. Art book doujin releases. Not doujinshi. Doujin.
I mean, pretty sure Dojinshi is still safe for work, just more sound.
No. Doujinshi is the porn.
Wait, is it? I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
Dojinshi is just Doujin magazine.
doujinshi is specifically the word for doujin porn manga.
Let's check it up.
Pretty sure.
No, Dojinshi is self-published print works.
Oh, just print. Okay.
Not necessarily porn.
Anyways, it's a doujin work, right? It's doujin art books that for each issue they focused on one nation's on one nation's armory. So for the first issue, you have the USSR. The second issue was the US, and the third issue was Germany. And within each of those issues, I don't know how many pages there were or whatever, but the one double page we do have is from issue 2. I don't know which page, but it's on the Gatling gun. And if we take it as like the base formula, it means that every double page has one girl with the gun that inspired her design, with a small stat sheet for the gun. Like, the illustration of the girl with the gun is on one page, and the other page has a stat sheet on the gun, a bit of a, like, quip, like 2 or 3 paragraphs about the gun, and then a small paragraph about the girl, I think. Some of them do, at least. And within those, there's actually some, like, from what I hear, there's some actual canon building between the girls as well. So that's really fun. And, like, that's, of course, a lot of, like, that's just GFL vibes, flat out.
Yeah.
But that's more of the, like, anthropomorphization.
Yeah.
Anthropomorphization, rather than what GFL does. Because in GFL, the girls aren't anthropomorphized.
No, the guys.
They're just T-dolls with guns, right?
Yep. It's just...
Meanwhile, Guns and Girls goes an anthropomorphization route. Like any other moe anthro girl out, or moe anthro game out there. Acer Lane, Kankare, Food Fantasy, whatever, right? They're all anthropomorphized versions, which also applies to Guns and Girls, but not Girls Frontline. But still, the idea is there, right?
Yep.
Girls with guns and girls. And then again, that comes together with the story of Bakehouse, along with a fuckload of world building to create Codename Bakery Girl.
Oh, interesting. So, which also means Mika do a fucking Gatling gun, and if they do, imagine if they're just using the design from Guns and Girls.
Dude, I
wouldn't put it past them.
Actually, one of the girls on, I don't know which one it is. Let me check really quick. One of the girls, I think it's an M16 actually. On the cover for the second Guns and Girls issue, the US one, actually looks a lot like Asbel.
Which one?
The first one, the front one.
Oh, as well. All right.
It kind of looks like her, right?
I haven't sent it. Oh, wait, now I can see it. Yeah, it does. Like the bikini design and the way
like
it has.
The vest, the short top.
Yep.
The shorts.
It
kind of
something.
It has those vibes. And then, what was her again? Yuzhan's daughter. I forget her name all the time.
Oh god, the one AR that can equip Knight.
Yeah, the APR.
Yeah, the Knight APR.
I mean, kind of the same vibes as from issue 1. Right?
Let's see.
If you're watching on YouTube, I'll try to remember to pull up the things.
I think I almost remember the name.
It doesn't really matter right now.
No,
and then here's
no.
Gatling gun.
Yeah, like they definitely have a different design idea than previous GFL.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
you know what I just noticed? It's just a suspicion, but I think Yusong likes ponytails.
Yeah. Probably.
Like, how can I get this idea? If 5 of these
I
girls
don't know.
have ponytails.
Yeah. 5 out of the 6 documented girls that we know of in the entire goddamn Guns N' Girls world have ponytails.
Also, now I'm curious what the fuck the name was of Yusong's personal gun thing.
Let me check really quick.
Oh wait, I can just look it up in GFL itself. Makes it pretty faster.
Or that, yeah. I was on the wiki, but yeah, that too. She's not even on the production. Wait, what? Why is she not on the production roll?
Huh.
The fuck? Why is she not on the production chart?
Because she's a drop only, I think. I don't remember.
No, she's not.
She's
drop only?
Oh my.
Is she drop only?
Yes, stop giving me. Well, no, keep giving me stuff.
My reality is breaking down.
Okay, tactical.
Go away, logs.
3-star assault rifle. So her name is 6P62.
Right.
And she is permanent campaign Operation Cube drop reward, as well as May 2018 monthly login reward.
Oh, right. She was the first login reward. I forgot about that. She's in heavy prod then, isn't she?
In heavy
Because
prod,
she's in the vent drop.
I know that MP7 is in heavy drop for some fucking reason. Well, yeah.
All event drops are, like, all crate drops. Sorry.
Oh.
Crate drops are in heavy production at some point.
Wait, I can.
But yeah, she's not craftable. That was my mistake.
So wait, you mean in heavy production there should be the event T-dots? Well, not event T-dots, but
Cube didn't have drops.
oh, okay. I see now. Yeah, there's I think F1 is not a T-dot you get normally. Let's check real quick.
F1?
Yeah. A submachine. No, wait, assault rifle.
Oh yeah, she's a cube. Deep dive drop.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, she's in heavy production, but not in normal production. Interesting.
Yeah, she's a deep dive map drop though, I think. The deep dive crate drop was... I don't remember her name. She's a 4-star rifle.
I think that might
know
have
the
been...
one, right?
No, wait, PCB is something else then.
Where's heavy prod? Heavy prod pool, heavy prod pool. PCB's 39.
PCB 39 was the drop then.
Yeah, she was the...
So I did remember correctly.
Oh no, she was E1. She was a map drop? I'm fucking retarded. Whatever.
Either way,
yeah,
something.
back to deep lore. More tangents.
That's
we gotta we gotta pad the runtime.
That's maybe.
No.
No, this is all calculated. If you just assume, pretend it's calculated, it's calculated.
Right. Yes. Sorry.
No tangents here. It's just we are creating a complex storyline.
A complex storyline, as in a clusterfuck of a podcast.
Hey, see something. Alright, we were at Guns N' Girls, and that's basically the dojo stuff, which then led to Bakery Girl in combination with Coda's Bakery. No, wait. Fucking hell.
It's fucking confusing. Why does this one game, or this one idea, must have 3 fucking names, Mika?
Yeah, no, right. Stop this.
Girl of the Bakehouse, codename Bakery Girl, Reverse Collapse, codename Bakery.
Well, reverse collapse is at least easy to just...
Reverse collapse is at least a good prefix to differentiate it. But codename Bakery Girl and Girl of the Bakehouse, what the fuck were they thinking?
Next is... Oh my god, I'm just remembering. Wait, how was it again? Oh god, now I have to look it up.
What?
Something.
Oh yeah, I've mixed up Project NeuroCloud and Bakery Girl as well.
See?
in some points,
Okay.
calling it Project Bakery Girl
Oh god.
rather than Codename Bakery Girl.
Hmm.
Haven't done Codename Neurocloud yet, though, so, well, up until now, but not on accident.
Oh god.
Now that I've planted that seed in my mind, it's gonna happen at some point.
Shit, no, I just remembered a certain Monty Python skit, but I don't recall the exact names of it. That is something along the lines of, we are not the X of Y, we are the Y's of X, or something along those lines. Like, we're just the same thing, but with different word order.
Yeah.
Man. Why the fuck?
I mean, that brings us back around to information.
Yeah, collapse stuff. Or other types of information.
I mean, just straight up science.
So, yeah.
Information is a real scientific concept.
Mm.
It's not just in GFL. I mean, it's not even explicitly stated in GFL. It's just how I decided to interpret things. Because shit's just technobabble. So, like, let me figure something out, okay?
Good luck.
I've tried. But yeah, I don't even know if there's so much more to talk about. If there's that much more to talk about with Bakehouse, because, again, it's just so short.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it. Like, I really want to talk about it, but given that you haven't read it that much, we can't really bounce off each other. I can only bounce off your prompts.
Yep, right now at the moment, there's not many prompts. But another way it kind of works. Maybe. Right, so talked about Bakehouse, shit. I figured the worst part is that I just default to Bakery Girl, and then I just realized, wait, no, it's Bakehouse.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course we do. Because Bakery Girl is much more relevant to us.
Yeah, that's true. It's because Bakery Girl is like the pre-sequel, prequel, whatever the fuck.
It's the actual game that was relevant to the story.
Yeah.
But again, that's
Which
the thing.
The name of GF40 is just would be a case of using just like the name a lot. Or
I mean, there are parallels again.
yeah, so
There are important parallels between these two stories. So it is very much an acceptable claim to say that Bakery Girl is a heavily rewritten version of Bakehouse.
Oh.
Together with, again, all the world building and the gameplay, which is
like
justified through the two, like, Mendo being an actual soldier and Jefuti being this mysterious sniper.
Yep. But yeah.
So it's because of the parallels, I can see the idea of it being a heavy rewrite. There's also a few parallels that don't quite match up, but what was her brother's name again?
I think something along the lines of Koman. I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, something like that.
Wait, no, that's correct. Kamon. There we go. That's the name.
Kamon, right? Kamon and Liege. There's a few like parallels between them. With like how later on, there's the whole, the confession, like, execution lineup and shit. There's a few, and then he's the first one to be pulled out of the, out of the crowd. There's a few like parallels here and there between Liege and him. But otherwise, I think, again, it's, for one, the ending. I do wonder if the clock tower scene has a parallel.
Clock tower?
The final assassination.
Oh, okay. So,
on the bell tower.
interesting.
Which, by the way, super fucking cool way they they pulled that off. Like, I genuinely recommend reading it.
Nice.
At least that part to you personally. If you're listening to this, and again are still here, the link is also in the description to the script.
Right?
To the script, yeah. So I totally recommend you read it because it's a really fucking good story, and that scene alone, I'll call it scene. It's fucking good.
I think I'll
It's
read
fucking
it
good.
later on in a.
It's relatively short again,
Yep.
so it ends up being relatively faster paced than you would think from the from the wording itself. But there's only so much you can stretch out this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I did notice again. It's nicely written and especially fast paced. I think the main
it's
issue
pretty
just
fast-paced,
with me is I'm not the type of person who reads on PC. Like if I'm on PC, the main reason why I'm using a PC is for multitasking.
Yeah, right.
And
So it's hard to read on a PC.
yeah, that's why
even
I'm
if you
basically.
got the whole thing in front of you.
Yep, that's why I'm probably going to read it at a later point.
Yeah. I read it in bed this morning.
Yeah, that's probably better.
I skimmed it before, really quickly. I skimmed it incredibly fast to just get the rough gist of things. But the first time I properly read it was this very morning, in bed, just after waking up.
So, speaking of this, you're probably going to look out for any types of Easter eggs then in stories of GFL that might refer back to it, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reread a lot of stuff.
I just imagine if they're going to use recording software, not just recording software, but oh god, I just realized WaveTech is the
Wave is Intel.
Intel. Okay, no.
Wave is an Intel corporation, basically.
But yeah, I did skim through it, and there was an explicit mention of a specific recording device.
Yes, that was, if I can find it really quick, I know where it was, roughly. Give me a second. See, this is why I told you to make cliff notes.
Yeah, right.
It's fine. Where is it? I know where it
The
is.
Lex 04 Imp.
Yeah, LEX04 Imp.
Yeah.
A long-range espionage recorder.
Yeah,
Basically a pointed microphone.
Yeah, and I can just imagine them
Directional microphone.
just
That's the
name
word.
dropping that device in GFL.
Yeah.
It's like a
that would be fucking wild, man.
man, that would be amazing. Oh yeah, the Chemgate incident. Interesting.
Chemgate incident, yes.
Chemgate,
That's
oh, yeah. I forgot chemical.
I mean, yeah, it was relevant in that, but I mean, you would have to really look for. I haven't really gone through the confiles 2 again, which is where you would probably be most likely to find a reference to this kind of thing.
Yeah, I haven't.
Because if you were to cross references to something in CBG GFL lore, then it would have to be again it's a pocket-sized device, so it's not going to be the stuff fitted on the planes sent to spy on the Starfish site, which would be the first thing to come to mind.
The Chemgate incident is something that wasn't answered or talked about in the confidential files at the point I've read.
Yeah, but you have an analog. That's the idea, right?
Yeah.
To have an analog that kind of fits in the same ballpark of what's being suggested here, right?
Yeah.
So of course there's the idea of Balon Island, but that's too fucking big, and we know what happened for Balon Island, and there was no espionage involved in that. The only mention I personally know of direct espionage being mentioned in the confiles is Project Starfish. And the what was it, B-52s, I think, being shot down by the surrounding SAMs. So just a few pictures being sent back to the US before being shot down. That's the only direct mention of espionage I can think of.
And that's not
probably
audio
isn't,
espionage in this case.
But that's all I know, right?
Yeah. But yeah,
what is funny is
Chemgate is something I might look out for in the confidential files. Maybe it's going to be named
again something that's around the same idea, right?
Yep.
That's evocative of the idea that Chemgate also evokes, as a name. and the fact that there's espionage present. What is ironic, though, here is that Yuzhong made a major part out of a pocket recorder in the story. And it's one of the main things that ruined the trust between Ere and Sunborn, is that Yao Ming and Yuzhong kept, like, secretly recording each other in meetings. And, like, trying to set up gotcha moments.
Oh god, fucking damn it. I'm just...
That's kind of yikes. Kind of ironic here, but, you know.
Yep. Also, Jesus, I'm getting into the wrong type of camgate. So now I ended up at the Reddit FIFA.
I don't see the issue.
I do. FIFA is quite the issue.
Yeah, fair.
But, okay, some camgate is at least not a real thing beyond FIFA.
Yeah.
So no connections there. Unless this is some kind of weird clusterfuck of girls suddenly turning into... Wait. Oh no. That's a tangent I'm not going to go in, but isn't
You are. You are.
I'm going to into this tangent. So
You are.
I am. Wait, give me a second. I just have to find her.
Oh no.
Time for the tangent. Kind of tangent. Tidal index.
I'm scared.
So, camgate. Wait. Come on, load better. Thank you. Where is she? Right, she's a 5. Okay, so we can probably talk about something else while I'm searching.
What are you searching for?
I'm searching for a shitpost. Ah, there she is.
Okay. Oh god.
Okay, so
Yes.
camgate
I am listening.
is a term that is used in Bakehouse, and it's also a term used in football and FIFA.
Okay.
In CN, there's a T-doll with a football design. That's now your new camgate direction thing.
Oh no!
There you go. It's the new shitpost. It's all connected.
Oh no! Okay.
Goddamn. I swear, if that would be the reason for her existence or her design, I'd be fucking no. But no, that's definitely not it.
Yeah.
Also, the T-doll in question is Lusa. She was introduced in Wild Summer Nights at the end of 25th of July in 2020 CN, so she's relatively new.
She's pretty new, yeah.
I wonder what she does.
Huh?
I wonder what she does. Huh. Cool.
I mean, you can check her, but I'm gonna get back to like Bakery Girl or Bakehouse. Fuck.
Okay. So
I read the document name, so I went to Bakery Girl.
Alright.
But goddamn, the fucking ending, man.
Mm-hmm. You mean the ending or the
That's the thing.
beginning?
The ending of the ending, the actual ending of Bakehouse. It fucking hits because, again, it comes back to the idea of, well, no one here is really morally clean, right? Mendo isn't morally clean. The Major isn't morally dirty, per se. And, you know, Jifuti isn't morally clean. No one is, right? And, like, Mendo only got himself into this, like, winning position because he blackmailed the Major with the recording, right?
Yeah.
Of the gunship.
But in this case, I can just
helicopter.
nod and agree. But yeah.
You did read it, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I read.
You know about the recording and everything.
Yeah, I don't know about
And
that.
he used that to blackmail the Major to get away out of it there, to get Jifuti and himself to safety. But I'm gonna spoil the ending here. So
more teasers.
I don't know. Huh?
More teasers.
Unless you don't want me to spoil the ending, in which case I'm gonna leave it up to you.
Let's just leave it up because we're probably going to talk about Bakehouse in detail in the next
Case in
podcast.
point, like the ending, it's not a good ending.
You mean good as in it's not a positive ending?
It's not a happy ending.
Okay, so it's good but not happy.
It's a well written ending, of course, yeah, but like it's not a happy end, right? Which I mean, almost seems like even more feeding into the cliche, like the level of cliche the story kind of is. Again, nothing novel, this kind of story, but it's really well written, anyways. And it kind of feeds into that cliche again, like, yeah, there's no happy ends in war, right?
Yeah.
Even though you got so close, something can always go sideways. But the way it's executed here is so fucking good, because, like, all the mistakes Mendo made just come back down to this one single moment. It's completely justified, and just it's so fucking good. It's so fucking good.
I'm looking forward to
all of
reading
Mendo's
it.
mistakes come back down to this one moment, even though he's gotten so goddamn far. And he and Jifuti would be just perfectly fine and off together. But he's made his mistakes. He's, fate is a bitch. He's fucked it up.
It's well-written karma.
Yeah, it's really well-written karma. And it goes to literally everyone involved.
And I think that's also something I've noticed with GFL, with events of the past. They just keep nagging the present in GFL. Like, think like in GFL, like there's this theme that certain events happened in the past and just continues to be an issue in the present, and it just never stops being an issue.
Yeah.
I think that's probably something that was also present in Bakehouse.
I mean, yeah, it's a very short story, so in a much lesser degree.
Yeah, but the idea is same.
Yeah. There's again, I don't know if you caught it, but the fact, like, the rifle that they use is military issue, of course, by the Antarctics, right?
Yeah.
The force that Mendo is part of. So at first, it's like they're cleared of suspicion because they don't work there, and it's just like, oh yeah, maybe it's just Federation, or was it Federation or Antarctic, whatever, the other side's guerrilla guerrilla corps being really thorough in their work. And it's like, well, one of our soldiers reported his rifle missing, and it's like, they're still cleared of suspicion because Mendo's sick, and what's this little girl gonna do, whatever, right? And then they're even cleared of the coincidence that they're always there when the assassinations happen. And even then, at the final assassination, they pull out the whole, like, the bell tower thing, and it's fucking brilliant. Well, all of that backfires at some point where the major still, like, suspects them, even though they're openly cleared. And Jifuti makes this big deal out of wanting to get a kill with every bullet, right? She wants to stop only when she's fired the last bullet they have. They stole the rifle, they have the mag, 6 bullets. She wants to kill one soldier with each of them as a way to get revenge for her parents, right?
That sounds interesting, yeah.
With the last one, they kill this, like, really important Inspector General, and the whole bell tower thing ensues. And again, sublimely written, I think. It's fucking amazing.
Nice. So essentially, the idea of Jeopardy is like the so if you would make a story pitch for Bakehouse, would you say the pitch of it's a story about a war correspondent who killed a girl's parents, a well enough pitch to get someone to read it, or would you add the fact that of the 6 bullets into it?
That's a good question. I think personally I would pitch it as the wartime correspondent trying to help a girl get revenge on his own forces.
Oh,
that would be the basic pitch.
Okay, yeah, so that's how we pitch it.
The single line pitch is wartime correspondent tries to help a girl get revenge on his own force.
And it's an interesting way to make it, because in this case,
Because now that's literally what happens, right?
yeah,
It doesn't give away too much about the characters. It tells you that
yeah,
there's a
it
girl,
doesn't tell
there's a
you
wartime
what-
correspondent, and what they do, right?
it doesn't tell you.
And that's pretty much all you need for a pitch.
Mm,
If you can't make a pitch with as little information as possible, and can't make it sound good, then you're gonna have a hard time writing an engaging story.
yep, that's the whole idea, like the hook kind of idea.
Yeah, again, it's the you have to find your hook, and if you can't find your hook, then it's fucking.
Which is also kind of the interesting aspect of GFL and how it started, with the hook being something along the lines of AI dolls and stuff happening. Oh god,
Yeah.
it's so weird thinking about GFL and like the early beginnings compared to where we are now.
Yeah,
Jesus,
it's really different.
yeah, it's crazy. I actually am enjoying it more right now. I think at some point I considered the militarization of GFL's story, or globalization, as kind of like, I hope it's not going to
Like the scale increasing.
yeah. Like one of the concerns was definitely that it's losing out on the personal aspects of it, where it's
Yeah.
where I think one thing I loved about GFL was that it. Wait,
I mean,
I think I just.
I feel like the
dropped out
first time those
completely.
issues really came in were like during chapter 9 and 10, especially with the entire arc of M4,
Yeah.
like with XM and all that kind of stuff, where everything was so far spread. Like everyone was like kind of on their own, just doing their own thing.
Yep.
And it all came together down to this one exercise, which already felt super out of scale. And then, of course, the betrayal happens, and just things get blown so out of proportion.
Yeah, I think
all
like,
of a sudden.
one of the things that I was concerned about was definitely the.
It's not without forewarning, I
Yep.
wouldn't say.
like it's definitely being
but-
talked about with the
It,
dinner table scene, more or less.
yeah, like, again, it doesn't come out of nowhere, but it's still kind of
Fast.
a bit too jarring
Yeah.
of an increase in scale all of a
I
sudden.
think one of the main issues I had, is better said, is that the emotional aspect would take a backseat in favor of world building, but thanks to Shattered Connection, that's not really the case. I think the way the Isomer were written is amazing. I love the connection they had in terms of world building, etc.
This is something I want to say. I didn't actually like listen too much to the Isomer ED, but of course there's what are we fighting for, or what am I fighting for,
yeah.
and now there's Connection, which holy fuck, in ED sung from the antagonist's fucking point of view. How amazing is that? I just noticed that like 2 days ago.
Oh, nice. I have to look up the lyrics now.
And it's told from the Isomer perspective, and that's so fucking cool.
I think
That is so fucking cool.
yes. But yeah, Shattered Connection, like really.
And I mean, of course, it's godly, otherworldly vocals.
Oh yeah, the vocals are
The
amazing.
absolutely insane fucking
From the
melody and everything.
songs I've heard,
It's such a fucking
actually-
well-written song.
Yeah.
Let's completely ignore the way it's tied into the event. It's such a good song, and the fact that it ties into the event in this way is just. Ugh.
Yep. So far, I think my favorite GFL songs on a musical note is the Polarized Light one.
I haven't listened to the Polarized Light stuff.
Oh, interesting. So,
Again, I don't take away future stuff from myself.
See?
If I learn about,
Oh.
if I stumble on something about like future events, then I like it's sure it's in my brain now. I can't get rid of it, but
yeah,
I
most
don't go out of my way.
the way I do it is I just don't read through it. Maybe I skim, but that's all.
I don't actively go after things.
Yeah, same here.
If I see something, I like I try. I like look at it at first glance. Is it a big spoiler? If no, sure, let's look at it.
Yeah. Just imagine Beard sitting there looking at a spoiler. It's like, well, how fucked am I now? Not enough. Let's read more.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, oh man, this is the thing about Bakery Girl, and a reverse collapse, because I haven't played through it all, and as per usual, Mika can't hold back with spoilers.
Oh yeah, that's
in their
typical.
own fucking games, and like they showed off a big scene from Bakery Girl
Oh, you mean the thing where
in
she got shot or
the
something, or like
developer
some?
thing. Yes, with Liege.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, fucking why?
Well, that's kind of one way to make a hook, I guess.
It bugs me so much.
Yeah. I did notice that there was like a scene there.
It's like relatively far towards the end as well. Which again, that's like the thing where like the parallels with Kamon come in.
No.
Right? To Bakehouse. With Kamon being pulled out by the Major for execution if someone doesn't confess. And then later in the endings, actually, for Bakery Girl, which again, minor spoilers here. The idea is that, again, I just forgot the name of the guy, but, you know, the UNRC guy, or whatever, the big bad at the end.
Not William.
He's also like, oh yeah, you'll never see Liege again, and this and that. Like as he dies, and depending on how much of his forces you've taken out, you get either the bad or the neutral ending. And if you've collected all the secret documents and get the neutral ending, you get the good ending, which is basically identical to the neutral ending, but instead Jifuti and Mendo stay together rather than Jifuti leaving.
Okay.
But I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically, like, the guy makes a big point out of Liege and how Jifuti is never going to see her again or whatever. I don't exactly know the details to the big, like, execution scene either, so there's something about Liege going on. There's, like, something funky there. But the idea is somehow Liege, I guess, kind of manages to get past that, and like Jifuti wants to recover her or whatever, but you know, the guy just says, "Oh yeah, you'll never see her again," and depending on the ending you get, the situation just turns out a bit different. But again, it's very similar to the ending of Bakehouse, with the Major and Jifuti and Mendo being involved primarily, and a variety of deaths occurring. To some extent, at least. The Major, I'll say as much as the Majors die in both ends, and that's about it. But yeah, there's... Oh, man, I'd love to find out about more parallels. I think I mentioned this before, but the last mission I played about, like, in Bakery Girl, is a night mission where Mendo, Jifuti, and his commander, or his superior, like, invade this military camp by the UNRC. And I've seen some nice parallels to the way that Mendo and Jifuti do their assassinations there. And that alone is like a super cool parallel there that I really like.
Nice.
And like dodging patrols and searchlights and everything, which is something they find themselves unable to do in Bakehouse. When after the assassinations, the military sharpens up the security measures in the village up to almost concentration camp like status. Like super frequent patrols and searchlights and everything. So yeah, that's something where I like the way that kind of mirrors again in Codename Bakery Girl. I do wonder if there are any more missions later on that also give that kind of vibe. Would be really interesting to see. But yeah, again, there's man, I could talk about this for so much longer, but because I can't bounce off you, I just can't find a way to do it.
Yeah, but I think it's fine. We're already 1 hour and 30 minutes into the recording.
I don't even want to stretch. I just want to fucking talk, but I can't.
Well, in this case, I think we could wrap it up then, alright?
Yeah, I guess. I guess we can wrap up.
Yeah.
I have to edit this thing in like 40 minutes.
See, there you go. None of less to edit.
So, yeah.
Again, see?
I guess that's it.
It's all planned.
It's all planned, yeah, of course. We have like a detailed script here. We just talk like it's like, you know, a bit of it's coming right from our
exactly.
minds,
That's
right?
just to pretend it's
It's all play. It's all play.
It's all play, exactly.
But yeah, again, all the new distribution platforms, everything, because we just have way too many links now. Everything is now nice and condensed on a link tree. That's linktree.ee. Right? Yeah. linktree.ee/reloadinggfl, where you can find all our links. It's now also linked in every description that you can find of us. Again, we have to figure out the links on RSS feeds. That's just messed up because that's just how RSS feeds work. There's also the document linked down there of the script of Bakehouse if you want to read it yourself. It's a very short read, roughly 1.5 hours, so if you want to see the first seed of GFL's world, that's there. And there's also down there the document of the bounty that I put out. Again, it's a rough list of the media I want. It's the bounty, the details, and everything. Just contact me if you want to get on to that. We'll figure something out. Again, I'm not a liar. We're just doing this for preservation's sake.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's about it, right?
Yep. Also, one thing we've noticed, since we're going to talk about Bakehouse in the next podcast, it probably makes sense to read it then. In the meantime, so if you're a listener, you haven't read Bakehouse, which is highly likely, in this week or so would be the best time to do it then. Or 2 weeks.
Are we talking about it next week?
Yeah, sure, why not? Oh, well, not that week's, but not next podcast. There we go.
We have something big lined up for next time.
Do we?
Yeah. Next week is the last week of the GFL Esports event.
Oh, right. There's that as well.
We have something big lined up for the next podcast, for the Christmas episode. So yeah, hopefully, at least, hopefully.
That's true. But
We've got no certain terms yet, but
yeah,
hopefully that works out.
In this case, there's a high chance we're going to make...
You have a month to read Bakehouse. We'll revisit it next time.
But yeah.
We'll revisit it next time. Chances are you have not read Bakehouse.
Hey, that's very likely. No, it's not.
Down there. It's just a 1.5 hour read at most because it's not in a VN format. It's a script, so it's like really fast to read through.
Yep.
And yeah, just go ahead and do it. Link is down there. Bounty details are down there. Linktree is down there where you can find all our new platforms and everything else. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yep. And yeah.
Have a good one.
See you later.